Hey, family, welcome to the Daylight Experience, where we shine the light on the truths that often hide in the shadows. I'm your host, Monica Day, and today we're exploring a painful intersection, the intersection of alcoholism and domestic violence. This episode may be difficult to hear, but it's a very necessary conversation. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, please know that help is available. You are not alone. So, today's episode, we're going to begin with a story, a voice that speaks for many who have lived in this reality. Please take a listen.
I used to count the bottles, and the bottles were normally 40 ounces. One meant a quiet night. Two meant there was going to be tension. And three or more, there was going to be chaos. He wasn't always like that. When we met, he was charming, funny, life of the party. But the party never ended, and neither did the drinking. At first, I thought it was stress, long days at work, family problems. He said the alcohol helped him cope. It relaxed him. But soon, it was just an excuse. It was an excuse for the yelling, the shoving, the nights that I slept with one eye open, the throwing, or the not coming home. Every time he hurt me, he blamed the bottle. You know, I never do this sober. You know I was drinking. It's the whiskey, it's the beer, it's the alcohol talking, not me. But it was him. It was always him. I tried to help. Poured out the liquor, hid the bottles, hid the glasses, would refuse to go to the store, begged him to go to rehab, begged him to go to counseling, and he promised he would. After one more drink, after one more night of chaos. But the nights turned into years, and the apologies turned into threats. If you leave, I'll ruin you. If you leave, I'll tell your family this. And if you leave, I'll tell the people on your job that. If you leave, I'll blow up the car. If you tell anyone, I'll make you regret it. I stayed. Yeah, I stayed because I thought I could fix him. I thought I could help. I thought love was enough. But love doesn't cure addiction. Love doesn't stop violence. The day I left, he was passed out on the couch, empty bottle on the floor. I stepped over it like it was a line I've never crossed again. And when I did step over that line, I never looked back.
Hey, family, welcome back. Y'all all right? You feeling okay? I know that may have been hard for some people to listen to, and please take care of yourself and step away if you need to. Um, I just want to run through a few statistics for you. So we already know that 10 million people experience domestic violence in a year in the US. So that's like 24 people every minute becomes a victim of intimate partner violence. In a lifetime, that's 41% of women and 26% of men have experienced um, sexual violence, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner. 61 million women and 53 million men have experienced psychological aggression by an intimate partner. The economic burden for domestic violence is approximately $3.6 trillion. And that's for a lifetime cost. That's a lot of money. And so that's calculated by number of hours missed from work, um, injuries, medical costs, all of those things. Now, we're talking about the intersection of alcohol and domestic violence because oftentimes those two intersect very often, more often than not. So in the US, alcohol related deaths were around 141,000 Americans that die annually due to alcohol related causes. Now, 10% of Americans between the ages of 12 and up suffer with alcohol, some type of alcohol use disorder. Let me say those ages again. That's above 12, 10, 11, 12. You're 12-year-old. Somebody's 12-year-old is already suffering with alcohol use disorder. Binge drinking is 24% of adults have reported to be binge drinking or have been binge drinking within the last 30 days. Now, 40 to 60% of domestic violence incidents in the US involve alcohol or drugs. 40 to 60%. So let's just say over half. Let's just do the median. 50% of domestic violence incidents in the US involve alcohol or another type of drug. It has been found that between 30 to 40% of male perpetrators and 27 to 34% of female perpetrators were drinking during an incident. So that means when the authorities showed up, they were intoxicated at the time, when the police showed up. So people that are heavy drinkers are 3 to 4% more times likely to commit intimate partner violence. So this is whether they are binge drinking all the time, whether if they're alcoholic, or if they suffer with alcohol use disorder, then yeah, you're more at risk for there to be an episode of domestic violence. Alcohol impairs judgment and increases impulsivity. So that means that they don't have any control of their emotions, their feelings, their actions, their behavior, and they're very impulsive. It doesn't take much to get them going. Um, And then conflicts and aggression, it's going to escalate automatically because alcohol is involved. And if it's already an argument and they start to drink or they drink more, it's going to get worse. So let me say this for people who may have been like me and thought we were fighting because of the alcohol, because my ex was drinking. No, the alcohol escalated it, the alcohol made it worse, but that was not the reason for the abuse. Um, and unfortunately, I'm sure there are many people out there that tend to stay because they believe or thought, if I can just get them to stop drinking, if I can get them to go to rehab, if I can get them counseling. And I have to admit, I was one of those people that thought that. And, but at the end of the day, I can't be responsible for your behavior. Your addiction is your addiction. I tried to love you through it as much as I could, but I couldn't, how do I, you ain't trying to go to rehab. You're not trying to stop drinking. You're not trying to do anything different, but I'm going to keep giving of me, sacrificing me. That wasn't an option. You got to, our relationships should be 50-50, give and take. And when I'm doing all the giving, yeah, that wasn't working out. So there are some programs out here for perpetrators of domestic violence. There are programs there's some programs that address the intersection of domestic violence and alcohol or substance abuse. Because let's be real, everybody alcohol ain't their thing. It might be something else. But I'm talking about alcohol today. So what can start out as a simple argument or disagreement, once alcohol becomes involved, it evolves to something else. I can remember having an argument or a disagreement. You leave, you gone. I think the argument over with. In my mind, it's over. We ended it. Okay, we disagree. But then some hours later, you come back, and you on 10 talking about the same stuff we talked about some hours ago. So now it's not just the same argument, it's you adding stuff to it, and it has escalated. It's worse than it. I didn't even know it was going to get that bad. I had no clue it was even headed in that direction. And because, it didn't take much, and as the story told how counting the bottles, I can relate. I'm sure some other people can relate. You may not want to admit it, but you can relate to that. I could tell you, I don't even, I may not have been able to give you, say, yeah, okay, he had three or he had four, but I could give you a guesstimation. He in that 3 to 5 zone. You know, I can tell, and I can absolutely tell when it was something more than a couple of beers, or something more than few beers. When you got one of those little small bottles of liquor at the convenience store, and now we mixing that with the beer you already had and been drinking all day. So now I got a different kind of beast. Now it's going to be a different kind of fight. I mean, and because I I didn't have time to figure it out, I had to be ready for whatever came my way. So the hanging out, partying with you, and drinking with you, we ain't doing that anymore. Because I got to have a clear head. Because I got to know what kind of move I need to make. I got to be able to think ahead and know, okay, if he's doing this, then this can really happen. And I know somebody watching this video, you either know somebody like this or you're experiencing this. And anytime you do go out with them, you always a designated driver because they can't drive. So let me tell you, let me ask this. And this is just food for thought. And I'm not ever gonna tell you to leave your situation because I know your situation. I don't know, I am gonna say do a safety plan. I am gonna say if you're being beat on, if you're being abused, that you deserve better and you should have better. I am gonna say that. And I am gonna say that's not love. But I'm not gonna tell you what you need to do for you. You got to figure that part out. But I want to give you just one little something to think about. If there's an emergency and you sick, you get hurt, whatever the situation may be, and they're drunk, they may or may not be even at home with you. But in an emergency situation, can you count on them to come and do what's right for you? Can you count on them to step in and make sure you get the care that you need? Can you count on them to take care of your children in your absence? That was, I'm going to tell you my answer to that question. It was a no. It was a no. I can't trust you to do none of the above. So now my question is, what we doing and why we doing it? Why am I going through this? Just food for thought, just putting it out there. Somebody is listening. You either know somebody or you're going through this yourself. And I want you to have all the information you need to make a decision for you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you you should leave, but I am telling you you need a safety plan. And I am saying I can help you with that. I will say that. But you know what you need. You know what's best for you in your situation. And that's a decision you have to make, whether alcohol is involved or not. These numbers are real. So realize statistics. These numbers are more than just numbers. These are people's lives. This stuff is real. This happens every minute of the day. Again, take care of yourself. Please. If you need a safety plan, please reach out to Daylight Inc. I'm your girl, Monica. I am Daylight on any social media platform. I'm willing to help. If you need a much bigger organization, I got you there too. The National Domestic Violence Hotline can help you. Thank you for joining me on the Daylight Experience. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear that alcohol is not the reason or the cause that they're experiencing the abuse that they're going through. Remember, healing is possible and help is available. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE. If you're in the Atlanta area and you need help with the safety plan, please reach out. Feel free to text at 470-671-0222. Thank you for tuning in and sharing this space with me today, and be blessed.